Section 1.4, we are going to discuss angles. And an angle is formed by two rays with a common endpoint. So this little symbol here by our word angle is our symbol for an angle. The rays are the sides of the angle, and the common endpoint is the vertex of the angle. So if we look at this picture of an angle, we have our vertex where our two rays come together. So our vertex in this case would be O. And the sides of our angle are the two rays. So we have this ray, OF, starts at O, goes past F. And we have this ray, starts at O, goes past A, OA. And when we're talking about the angle is this part right here. So let's look at an example. Name the angle in all possible ways. There are a few different ways we can name an angle, but the important part to remember, if we're using the points on our angle, so if we use D, E, and F, our vertex always needs to be in the middle. So let's look at one way to name the angle. I'm going to use my angle symbol, which looks like this, and I'm going to start on the outside. So it would be D, go into my vertex, E, and then back out to my other point, which is F. So if we look here, my vertex, which is E, is in the middle of my 2 points. This names my angle. I have to go in order. I have to start at the outside, go into my vertex, and then back out to the outside. So if I do that, I could go the other direction. I could go angle, start at F, go into my vertex E, and back out to D. So those are 2 ways I could name that angle. My vertex is always in the middle. I could not name it EFD. My vertex is not in the middle, so that is not an option on how to name it. That E, that vertex, is always in the middle. The last way I could name this angle is you can see this little 1 in our angle corner here. I could call this simply angle 1, or I could name it by just my vertex. So I could call it angle E. So there are 4 ways here that I could name that angle. All of these are talking about the same thing. Okay, let's look at an example. Name all angles that have B as a vertex. So if you look, find point B. It's right here in the middle. So my first angle I see is I have from G into B out to A. So that is one angle. Then I notice I also have this angle right here. Now this angle I could name using my points. I would have G, B, E, or I could just call it angle 5. It's got this angle right in the corner. Then I also have this angle right here, angle 6. B is still my vertex right here, and my last one right here, that is angle 7. Okay, my next question, name the sides of angle 5. So I'm going to erase this here. the sides of angle 5, we've got angle 5 right here, and our rays are the sides. So this is going to go all the way past here. The first ray, I start at my vertex, B, and I'm going to go past G. Start at B, go past G, so my arrow is going to go this way. That's one side of my angle. The other side of my angle, I'm starting at B, and I'm going to go past. Now I could name this in two ways because I have 2 points. I have E and F. Either one works. I could have BE or BF, and I'm just going to pick BE because that comes first. So it starts at B and goes past E. Those are my 2 sides of angle 5. Last one, write another name for angle 6. Okay, if we have angle 6, that means we're looking at this angle right here. Now, I'm going to pick 3 points for angle 6, and my vertex there is B, so right away B is in the middle. Now, if I start on the outside here, I'm going to start at point E, come into B, and out to D. So that is going to be my angle, EBD. Now I could have picked F instead. I could have started out here at F, still talking about the same angle, FBD. It still creates this same arc right here. So now that we know how to name angles, we're going to look at a couple of different types of angles. We can classify angles into different categories. So our first category is a right angle. And a right angle has a degree measure of 90 degrees. That means that this little box right here, there is 90 degrees inside this angle. So every time you see a little box in that corner, tells me that I have a right angle of 90 degrees. And our line segments here, our line segments or rays, are perpendicular. So perpendicular lines always form that right angle. And symbol for perpendicular is this upside down T here. That means that I have perpendicular lines, so that means I have a right angle, 90 degrees. Our second type of angle is called an acute angle. So that means it is less than 90 degrees. So this angle here, you can see this, the space in between my 2 lines is a lot smaller than my right angle above. So this is called an acute angle. As long as it's less than 90 degrees, we can classify it as acute. An obtuse angle is the opposite. You can tell that the space here in between my 2 rays is a lot bigger, it's a lot more open than my 90-degree angle. So this means it's more than 90 and it's less than 180. A line with an angle with 180 degrees is called a straight angle. So that means I have a straight line. My angle goes from this side of my line all the way around to this side. That's 180 degrees. Anytime we see a straight line, we're going to see a lot of those in geometry, a straight line is 180 degrees. So that's something that's really important to remember. Now, if we think about that straight angle as 2 rays, if we were to draw another straight angle off to the side, put R in the middle, and we have N on one side and T on the other. Rn and RT are called opposite rays. So they're going in opposite directions like we talked about in an earlier section, and they form that straight angle. So it's still an angle because it's got 2 rays as its sides. It's just going in opposite directions, so again we get that 180-degree angle. And our vertex of that angle is still R. Okay, let's look at one last example. This says, name the following. All right angles is our first task. So let's label our points here. We have T, P, Q, and S. Okay, so our right angles are all the angles that are 90 degrees. So the first key for that is looking for our box. This shows me right away I have a right angle. So if I want to name that angle, I need to start at the outside. So if I start at point Q, go in to my vertex, and then back out along my other side, I get angle QPS. Or it could be SPQ, either way, as long as that vertex is in the middle. Now if I have a straight line and I know this angle right here is 90 degrees, I also know that this side over here is going to be 90 degrees, because if I have 180 degrees and one of them is 90, the other one here is going to be 90. These are both 90. 90 plus 90 gives me 180. So that means I have to label this angle. So if I start at T, come into my vertex, P, go up to S. So I've got angle TPS. Again, my vertex is in the middle. Okay, my next piece says to name two opposite rays. So I need two rays that are going in opposite directions. If I have a straight line, that's an easy one. I know I have this ray going this way and this ray going this way. So if I name my first one, I'm starting at point P and going past Q. Start at P, past Q. So that's my first ray. My second ray, I'm starting at P again. And this time I'm going left, so I'm going to go past T. Those are my two opposite rays. Okay, my next one is all straight angles. So my straight angle means I have two opposite rays. So if I look at my straight angle, that means I'm going to have angle, start at T, go into my vertex. P is still my vertex of my straight angle. It's the line in the middle, or the point in the middle of my line. I have T, P, Q. P is the vertex, it's in the middle. A pair of perpendicular rays is my next question. So if I look perpendicular, the symbol gives it away. I'm looking for something that looks like an upside down T. So I have that here. I have PS as my ray going up. And then I have two rays that are perpendicular. I could either go with my ray PQ. That makes a 90-degree angle, so I could write that as SP. Oops. We're starting at P and going past S. PS is perpendicular to PQ. Start at P, go past Q. Or I could go the other direction. I have PS is perpendicular to PT. Start at P, go past T. So those are two pairs of parallel or perpendicular rays that I could have used. Then the last thing it asks me to do is label all my points. So I have points T, P, Q, and S. Those are all my capital letters.